Okay,
Tisha?
we are live.
Right.
Let me just check. All right, we're live. We are live. Hi, anyone, if you have joined us, please let us know where you're joining from to ensure that everyone is seeing us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Mm. Hi, Eric. How are you doing, Eric? Good to see you.
How you doing, Eric?
Hi, Lanre.
How are you, Larry? How you doing? Oh,
Where are you guys joining us from? Please let me know where you're joining us from. That would be nice to know. I believe Lanre is in Lagos. Eric is in Nigeria. David, Lara, happy Canada Day
yeah,
and happy 1st of July. Happy new month, everyone. This is very special. it
yeah. It's a great day in Canada. I mean,
is.
happy Canada
It
Day
is a great day. I'm
to
wearing
all.
red. I couldn't find my Canada Day t-shirt, so I just decided to wear red too.
That's why I have a touch of red on my shirt also.
Yeah, I saw
And white. Yeah.
that. Okay, nice. Calgary, Mississauga. Thank you, Lagos, Nigeria. Tuned in from London. Blessing from Lagos, Nigeria. Eniga from Lagos. Thank you for joining us today. Jefta from Abuja. Awesome. Awesome. All right. All right. Seems we're live on LinkedIn and live on Facebook as well and YouTube. Awesome. So we're going to get
Good.
started. We have an amazing guest. I did an intro yesterday, a brief one, when I was talking about what we're going to be doing today. Thank you, Moji from Texas, Houston. Um, Principal from Lagos. So we have a guest. He's a very busy person. I've been trying to get him to speak with us for a while, and I keep telling him, I'm still going to have you. I'm still going to have you on my fireside chat. So thank you so much, um, Kayode, for joining us today. So I'm going to let you give us a brief intro about yourself and tell these amazing people a little bit about you.
Thank you first for having me, and I wish all the Canadians out there happy Canada Day, and to all that's joined us from outside Canada, I wish you happy 1st of July. And talking about my career path, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. I did that. In the greatest of the greatest of all universities in the world, and that's the University of Ibadan. I started out as a programmer. From there, I moved on to doing systems analysis and systems programming. From programming, I moved on to maintaining and supporting a very high class accounting, financial accounting, almost like an ERP. He had all the modules, that what ERP has now. Back then, there wasn't anything called ERP. So, but he had all the modules, all the whistles and bells of a typical ERP solution. Moved on from there to I would say that was my first crack at project management, implementing the software. Again, I believe that's for Nigeria's leading software house. From there, I moved on to doing sales and marketing. I left the organization as the head of sales for the organization. From there, I started my own small outfit in Nigeria. We were the first to sell CRM solution. CRM is simply customer relationship management software.
Yeah.
We did that for a while before my family and I relocated to Canada. Coming into Canada, I mean, it was initially tough, but I mean, along the line, I had to find my feet again. I went back to my first love, which was IT. I did support and implement SAP for a big organization here. From there, I moved on to supporting LiveLink SharePoint for an oil and gas company. I mean, by then I was leading a team of about 9 project managers. After that, I started developing project management solution for organizations, and at this point in time, I work for the government here in Canada. So that's, in a nutshell, my a background of my work history. And if you'd like to know more, please feel free, ask me any questions. With regards to that, I as much as I can, I would answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that brief introduction. Very brief. I know you didn't go into a lot of detail.
Yeah,
But I would like to ask this question right now. So you moved on to, being a typical developer and programmer and just, being the technical guy to moving into project management. So tell us more about that move. Say, someone who's always been that guy who he's a programmer, he's all about just, writing code, developing software, and then moving into leading projects and programs. How can someone like that, that guy, who was like you, years ago, how can he make that transition into project management?
I mean, again, I almost, without wanting to claim the glory, it was what's it called, the chief executive of the organization. One was like there was need in that area of the organization, and I mean, I've always been somebody that like to take up challenges. So he called me into his office and was like, "Okay, we have a need in this area. What do you think?" I'm like, "Okay, let me give it a try." So he really wasn't by choice. It was kind of like voluntold, kind of like we have a need. So that was how I got into it. And getting into it, I find it really, really good, which was like I moved from talking to systems and I moved into talking to human beings. So
Yeah.
there's a huge portion of project management, which is communication. You should be able to communicate up and down and horizontally. So I started. I had to develop my ability to communicate because I kind of was more focused on doing the machine language kind of thing. So I started with that. And if you would ask me that how did I excel, I would again say that I've been very privileged to have good people around me, to mentor me into becoming comfortable in project management. So I had those people around me, like they kept telling me, "You can do it, you can do it." Sometimes I mean, I just would second guess myself. I understood the issues. So, and that's one other thing that a good project manager would need: understanding, what is the need, what are we doing here, So you need to be able to understand that and put a vision on the table, for your team, for the sponsor. I mean, let me just say for the stakeholders. When I say stakeholder, everybody that is impacted or that is interested in your project, you should be able to communicate clearly what you're doing, or you start with, okay, this is the problem that we want to solve, and this is how we intend to get there. This is, this is what we will be getting at the end of the project. So you should be able to, promise what you can deliver. It's not just building castle in the air, but I mean, like, based on what you see, based on the resources that is available, based on the time that you've been given, this is what I can deliver. So I'm talking that you have to come, to the negotiating table with a lot of integrity.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Awesome. I really like that you shared something, and you said that you had to develop your communication skills. Because moving into the project management role, you were moving out of talking to the systems, being the programmer, to actually leading the project. So working with stakeholders, people with various types of communication styles and behaviors. So So communication skill is a very, very vital skill for a project manager or a business analyst, which you didn't mention because you're also a business analyst as well. So you've worn both hats. You're very
That's right.
hybrid.
Yes.
You're you're multifaceted because you have experience across several domains: oil and gas, agriculture, government,
Manufacturing, government,
manufacturing, government,
aviation. Yeah.
technology, aviation. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
How have you been able to move from one domain to another? I mean, you're so experienced. Like, if I wake you up from bed, I know if I tell you this is a problem, you're going to tell me a full plan of that project. So how have you been able to move across domains? Some people feel like they're stuck. I've been in banking for 10 years. I've been in oil and gas for 20 years. How do I move into another domain? How have you been able to move from one domain to another and lead projects successfully?
I mean, again, at the risk of almost sounding like, blowing the trumpet for the organization that I worked with, I mean, it was a software development house. So we
Yeah.
had clients all across different sectors of the economy. And, that meant that, when you're working in the bank, you have to think like a banker. And when you're working in the aviation industry, you have to think like somebody, like a professional in the aviation industry. And that simply means listening to people, which is part of communication, that you're able to listen to them, listen to what they're doing. Again, I dare say, to everyone on the call right here, that it's not rocket science. It's all about understanding what people are doing. What is it that they want to do, and if you're able to humble yourself enough to learn, from the people around you, it's the you would say that there are variations, in how they do, what they do. But when you look deep down, it's all about the same thing. It's all about the bottom line, for the senior management. It's all about, driving efficiency into the organization. So that again, just tells you that it's. I mean, again, yes, I recognize that there are specialties, in each of this domain. However, I would say that you, as a project manager, you don't necessarily have to be an expert, in any of those areas. What you need is to understand what their issues are and where they want to go. So you're looking at what is the current state, what problems, what challenges are you facing, and what is it that you want to achieve. So you're looking at the future and saying, okay, this is where you want to get to. So how do we together, work towards that? One of the first things that I learned, in this industry is that you become a consultant, and a consultant is somebody that you would invite, and you would give them money, and they would ask you, using your own wristwatch, what is the time, and they would now help you write it out and say, okay, this is the time. So so it's that easy. It's all about talking to people and understanding what their challenges are. Talking to people, you don't have to be the one to come up with the solution. All you need is enough experience to be able to walk people through how to think about how do we achieve the solution. uh, so again, I'm saying, as a project manager, you don't necessarily have to be the subject matter expert. You don't have to be the expert in the room. All you need is to be able to bring people together and pick their brains to be able to develop, a solution. And talking about how I have been able to do this, again, sometimes it comes with time. I've been around for a little while, so saying that, is that you know with experience, working in different organizations, meeting with people, reading books, all these things come together when you find a new challenge.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You've touched on so many points. A lot of people feel like, oh, I can't do this. I need to know about everything. I need to know about the technology, the software. No, you do not. Whether you're a BA or a PM as well, you
Yeah.
need to just know how to bring the people, the smart people together,
That's
the people who have the technical knowledge, right? The subject matter experts, bring them together and use the competencies you have, your communication and interpersonal skills. which is what you've done, moving from one domain to another, to another, to
Absolutely.
another.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's talk about the PMBA role. Now you've played both roles separately. You've played that hybrid role. So let's talk about the PM and the BA role. So for someone like you who has had that experience of being a PM, being a BA, and being a hybrid, for someone who who feels like, oh, I'm stuck between PM and BA, what would be your advice with regards to going through that part of being a hybrid?
Um, Depending on where you start from, it's possible to start out as a PM or as a BA. But you would, I almost would say that it's almost like a natural progression going from a BA to a PM. If that is the path in which you find yourself going from a BA and you feel stuck as a BA, first thing is as a BA, you really should have had the opportunity of working with PMs. I'm sorry. Working with PMs simply means that you're understudying them, and I believe that people are always willing to help if you let them know, what you want to achieve. I mean, for the most part. So just, being able to open up to your PM to say, I like, to understudy you, and you begin to take more and more responsibility off of the PM. So there are some, what you probably would think are typical PM roles. I can't think of one off of the top of my head right now, but I mean, what typically a PM would kind of like take on as these are my roles or
Yeah.
responsibilities, yeah, that you begin to ask, for those kind of responsibilities, you're especially maybe like meetings with senior people. Those are typically the PM role, meeting with the sponsor. You want to ask the PM, can I come with you, to meet with the sponsors when you have your steering committee meetings. Those are typically things that a PM will do. You're asking, can I come with you? Can I help you set it up? Can I help you write the reports? The reports that is going to senior management. Can I help you? That way, you're beginning to, put yourself in that role. Can I run the meetings? I'm talking of the project management meetings. That can I run the meetings? Can I, all these things? Just putting yourself out there, and
Yeah.
when you're starting your meetings, you let people know, I'm not the PM, so please don't shoot me. When you need to shoot somebody, that's the person to shoot over there. I mean, um, jokingly, that kind of like helps you to break the ice. People are
Yeah.
uh, softer, they are more understanding, that okay, this is not the PM, but this is just somebody that's trying, to, and people, I mean, just be vulnerable, be willing to take risk, be willing, to try stuff, especially when life is not involved. If it's not going to kill somebody, if it's not going to make the company, make a big loss, so I'm saying start out small, but begin to scale fast.
Yes, totally. Well, you touched on a lot of things, and what you said is so true. So earlier you talked about the fact that you do not need to know everything, as a BA or a PM. You should understand that with every organization, the bottom line is the key. Like we say in Nigeria, is the cocoa, is the key, right? Every business is there for a reason. We're here to make profits, right? So you're coming in to look at, okay, are we improving the process? What's the need here? Are we trying to reduce cost? Are we trying to enter a new market? Are we trying to increase customer satisfaction? And then you
That's it.
start from the need, and then you start plotting out the plan. So that's fantastic. And whoever is a BA or a PM, that's
Mhm.
key for you.
Yeah.
Knowing the need, knowing who your stakeholders are, your subject matter experts, and bringing them together to say, hey guys, how can we achieve this? You don't need to know everything. I find with a lot of newbies, they're very stuck on the fact that, oh my God, they use SAP. I've never used SAP before. How am I going to get into this organization? Or they see, they talk about a tool. Oh, I've never used the CRM before. Or they may have used another CRM,
That's
at
right.
work. So you already have that exposure to that tool. You don't need to know all of them. That's why when you step in there, you're going to work with your team, and that's where your collaboration skills come in. So I would really like you to give some advice to people who are especially new immigrants as well. I want to become a BA, I want to become a PM. I don't know where to start, I don't know how to do it. And a lot of these people already have experience, from the countries they're moving here from. Lots of experience, but they're second guessing themselves. They're scared about putting themselves out there and getting upskilling and getting into this role. So what would be your advice for people who are moving to new countries and want to move into this career path as well?
I mean, uh, let me start, from saying that if you have worked before in any place, you already have the basic prerequisite knowledge, to function in any of these roles, in either of these roles, whether a BA or a PM. What am I trying to say here? That if you have worked before, you will have had the experience of how business runs. Typically somebody comes into the office in the morning and will take up a task and will walk through the task, and by the end of the day, you will deliver some sort of result. So as a BA, what do you do? What you do is you help, look at what is the current state, what are we doing currently, just like Eno said. You're looking at different what issues. Is this problem about saving cost? Is this problem about improving the process? Is it an efficiency issue? Whatever the problem is, it means that somebody is doing something that needs to be improved upon, whatever it is. So just take yourself as in your former work, in your former role, in your former country where you're coming from. I was doing step A, B, C, D. Now we want to improve on this. Improving on this might probably mean that we're going to jump from step A all the way to step C. There's really no value in doing step B. It's just as simple as, I mean, again, oversimplifying things, but it's really that simple in my mind. I mean, with experience, I would say maybe it's become so simple for me. It might not be that simple, as I'm describing it. But what I'm saying is, irrespective of wherever you're coming from, you were working with human beings where you're coming from. You're coming to a country, you still will be working with human beings, and the human beings, they go through tasks. Okay, this is my task for the day. These are the things that I need to do for this day.
Yeah.
And as a BA, you coming in and say, how can I help you, become a better employee? How can I help you improve on what you're doing? So I'm saying, if you put yourself in that mind frame of, this is what I used to do, and I want to improve on what I was doing. That is exactly what a BA, a PM, so a PM, the organization, I mean, sometimes a PM is given the role of conceptualizing what the problem is. They probably would just invite you in and say, okay, we don't know what the problem is. All we know is that we're losing money. So for me, I
Yeah.
would say we need to block all the loopholes in the organization. So where are we bleeding? That's the way I would address it. Somebody else will say we need to save money. We don't need to block anything. Everything is going on well, but we just need to save money. Somebody will say there's too much wastage in the processes in this organization and it's costing us money. Irrespective of how you're looking at it, you're saying that there is a problem and we need to resolve this problem and come up with a solution, or come up with an expected result as a BA. And you will be meeting with people, you will be talking to people, you will use the people, use quote and unquote, to get to a solution. So I'm saying you don't necessarily have to come in, this was how we did it in my last company. No. All you need to do is be able to communicate with people and say, how do we resolve this? How do we work through this?
Mhm.
What are the resources that we have at our disposal to help us,
Yeah.
get to a final destination? So
Yeah.
that's
I really like your last point where you said, being able to make use of the resources you have. The resources you have are the people on ground,
That's
right?
right.
As a PM, as a BA, work with the people you have. That your solution lies with the people. So that's why you need to make sure you master your communication skills. You're able to elicit requirements, draw it out of people,
That's right.
because a lot of times people don't really tell you what they really want. So try to make them comfortable, and that's where your communication skills, matter a lot. Thank you so much for that. You were just hitting the nail on the head. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Everything that I've been saying to a lot of people when they're so scared to take that leap. They want to do this, but they're just so scared. Someone said he's scared. Paul said he's scared. Paul, like advised, you just have to put yourself in those shoes already, because you already have the experience.
And I probably would ask, and maybe we probably would just use him as, I'm sorry, Paul, but we just kind of like use you as our test case. What are you scared of?
Exactly. Let us know what you're scared of. Put that comment in the chat. I want to see what you're scared of, Paul. So someone asked, what's the best project management certification? I'm surprised someone is asking that question, but I really love you to share, because you have a lot of all these certifications required for project management and business analysis. So someone is asking for project management. What's the best certification?
I would say that it depends on the environment in which you're operating from. If you are in the UK, and especially if you're in the UK in the government sector, I would say Prince 2 might be the way to go. Um,
Yes.
if you're outside UK, most of the time it's the PMI that I would recommend. The PMI certification is what I would recommend. So you become a project management certified professional.
Okay.
So depending on the environment that you're um, working from. So you want to look at your local environment. What is it that most people have? Typically, they're almost similar, in what's it called, in their approach. The differences is just a little wordings, the words that a typical PMI certified project manager would use, that a certified Prince 2 person will probably not use. But when you look behind the words, it's exactly the same thing. They're looking at a temporary task that they need to resolve within a time frame, and there's so much money that is available. Again, money is always some of the key issues there. So you don't have all the money in the world to solve all the problems in the world. So you really just want to narrow down, say, what problem are we solving? How many people do I have working with me on this? How long is it going to take me, or how long are you giving me to get this resolved? How much do I have, to get this resolved? I would say those are the basic things that you need. If you want to speak it in project management lingo, you would say, what is the scope of this project? What's the costs? What's the time frame? What's the schedule? What people? What resources do I have in terms of people? What are the risks that I should envisage? Along the way. Those are the typical project management lingo that you would use as a PMI certified person. But I mean, it's still similar in the Prince 2 world. So those are the two major um, certifications that's available in the world right now.
Yeah.
But let me just quickly put in addition to that, there's what is called Scrum, which is uh, it's 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 a methodology that's just coming up. And in this methodology, I mean, people have gone, not to look at the PMI, Prince 2 certification. People have gone straight, to becoming Scrum Masters. So I just needed to quickly add that so that I don't misinform,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
guys. So has Paul been able to define why he's scared?
I haven't seen Paul's comment yet. I'm looking out for it. When I do, I will share. So I
Okay.
wanted to ask this question: what's a typical day in the life of a project manager? So, maybe when we break this down, people would see, okay, this is really what a project manager does. So on a project, what's the role of a project manager on a project? What's a typical day in life of, the project manager?
Uh, I, 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 I almost would say that it's depending on the phase of your project, depending
Mhm.
on the time frame, in which your project is, it might, like it might fluctuate. Um, Let me start from the inception. When a project is given to you, the first thing that you want to sit down to do is, so who are the people that I need to talk to? Again, considering the fact that you don't know everything, you don't know, what the likely solution is. In fact, the problem might just be, very, very vague. That you need to talk to people to understand what the problems or what the issues are. What the real issues are. There was something that Anna said. Talking to people and trying to get, you know, the requirements, out of people. Is a lot of work. Is a lot of work. Why? Because sometimes people are skeptical. People are looking at you and say, "Oh, you want to take my job from me, or you want to bring in somebody." So there's lack of trust sometimes out of fear. People don't want to like expose themselves and say, oh, my work is simple, or my work is so difficult. So you really have to look behind what each person is saying. So you start with your stakeholders analysis, looking at all the different people that you need to talk to. Those are your stakeholders. You're looking at the kind of influence that they carry. What impact does the project have on them. So you're looking at the influence, you're looking at the power. So it's called the power grid. How much power does this person carry? How much does this project affect this person? So let me say hypothetically, you have a CRM, a customer relationship management solution to implement
Yes.
in your. So it will be impacting on the chief sales officer. You'll be impacting on the chief marketing officer. I mean, the bottom line, again, money is coming in, so the money would have to go into the financial application.
Yeah.
So it would have impact on the CFO.
Hmm.
But let me look at the chief admin officer, for example.
Yeah.
The impact is not so much, but do they carry power? Do they carry influence? I would think
Mhm.
yes. That if you don't have the right set of people, the HR, person, if the HR person does not give you the necessary support, if the admin person does not give you the necessary support, there's a likelihood of not meeting your need, your project objective on time. So you need all these different people, but their interest is not on the same level. So even for the CFO, for example, he's looking at the tail end of the process when money comes in. Yes, the CFO is like, yes, give me the money. I need the money. But the chief sales officer is looking at what are my people doing? Are they visiting on time? Do they make the necessary number of calls? Are they meeting their targets? The
Yeah.
chief marketing, is looking at something different. The operations person is looking at something different. So you need to understand what is everybody's interest. How
Yeah.
much power, how much power do they carry? That's where you will start from. And that's really at the inception. Again, when you're getting towards the end of your project, you really don't have to concern yourself so much as to defining the people. So
Yeah.
your need at that point has changed. Uh, then you start to have your meetings, with people, organizing meetings, looking, at the different people that's able to help you, because at the end of the day, the success or the failure of the project is on you, Mr. Project Manager. So you
Yeah.
carry the responsibility of ensuring that this project must be successful. So you need the right set of people. You need to, have them in the room at all time. You need to have access, to them when you need them. So you're putting meetings together. You're organizing meetings based on all that. So that is another phase. Another phase would be, we are now in the nitty gritty of implementing the solution. who what kind of people do you need at that particular point in time? The people that are actually doing the work, they have to be available. If they're not there, implementation might be stalled. So you need to clarify, so you need to meet with their managers and say, I would need, this and this persons, for this number of hours within this period of time. So those are, so you're thinking of different stages. Where am I going? And you will do well if you're able to plan ahead and give people enough notice, such that they know that in June, sorry, we're in July already. So
Yeah.
on August 1st, I need to be on this project. I need to dedicate 18 hours. I need to dedicate 1 week, whatever number of days or hours that you require. You let them know so they can plan it ahead, and you
Yeah.
can be successful with that. So I'm saying that there wouldn't be a typical day in the life of a project manager, depending on the phase in which you find your project, and you're coming in, and you just have to be thinking on your feet, what's next, and you have to be ahead, of your team, like two steps ahead of your team.
I'll say PMs can be, as a BA, PMs can be so can be on your back when they want updates. They always want updates. Because they're working with a timeline, and the timeline is very strict.
Yep.
So yes.
I mean, again, it's not really because they like to. I mean,
There's some PMBA clashes sometimes. That happens on projects.
let me give you an example of one that I had.
Mhm.
We were running a matrix. A matrix is simply in a situation where the people on the team, on the project team, are not directly, a staff of the project. So they have their managers that they're reporting to, and at the same time, they have to work on the project, and they're reporting to the project. They have a broken line reporting, structure to the project manager. So
Yeah.
there's this person was supposed to. I mean, I was developing a project management system, and in the project management system, there is the cost module. So ordinarily, this person was a cost analyst for the organization, but on the project, uh, she was like the cost management expert, and I
Yes.
needed some things to be done. Again, don't forget that as a project manager, the responsibility, the success or the failure of the project is on you. Nobody sees, the BA, nobody sees, the subject matter expert or whoever that you need. All they need is your results at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We have given you the money. You said it will take you this number of weeks, and you're now in months. Guess what? It's a failure. So you
Mhm.
just will have to, make sure that everybody understands that yes, you have your own deadlines and what have you. But guess I have spoken to your manager. Your manager has given me, the right that you give me this much time. I'm not getting the results that I'm supposed to get. So I had to, be a little bit. I'm not generally a forceful person, but when it comes to project, and that your timeline is being impacted, you just will have,
Yeah.
like, guess I need it, and I need it yesterday.
Yes.
And whatever we need to do, you have to do it today. It's late already, bad as it is, but so we need to get it done today. So sometimes you have those kind of clashes, and it's, again, I'm just speaking for project managers to say that it's not because they want to be nasty, but because they have,
Yeah.
bigger fish to fry.
That's true. Yeah. That's so true. Totally. Totally. Yeah. So someone asked another question. So we're moving into the questions, and a lot of questions are coming in. And Paul left a comment, and we'll get to your comments, but I want to take this question because it came in earlier. So someone asked, how do I move from being a project manager to a program manager? So I have experience in project management. I want to move up the ladder to becoming a program manager? What will be your advice for that question?
To move to a program manager will mean that, first you want to start with managing small, multiple projects at the same time, because that's what a program manager does. That you would have had the opportunity of being able to, you know, divide your time between two, three projects, that you have like three, four, or two, three, uh, project teams that you're managing. So I'm saying you start by practicing, what you want to become. That even if you don't have that opportunity at home, you can create, smaller projects at home, that is running concurrently with your office project, and see how you're able to maneuver yourself between both projects. Start with that. Do some schooling on program management. Again, I always like to add that volunteer in the office and say, can I, in addition to this project, I think I have 30% time availability. Can I manage these other projects? Sometimes you just will have to think of, other problems that is existing in the organization, and come up, with a small project charter, or small problem definition, document, to say, I observe that we have this problem, and I have some time, I can manage, to pull this off in addition to the projects that I'm doing. So you should be able to manage your time properly. Otherwise, one will give way for the other. That because you are a project program manager, yes, eventually as a program manager, you're probably not managing projects directly, but the organization will want to see that you're able to run multiple tasks without one impacting on the other. So you start with that. Eventually, I think that in a good organization, they would see that you've got the potential, for this, and move you up. But again, I say, don't be afraid to ask. Your career path is determined by you. No organization is looking after anybody these days any longer. So you have to tell people what you want to do. This is where I see myself. When you're having your performance appraisals, you let your manager or whoever you're reporting to, let the person know that this is where I see myself in the next 6 months. I want to become a program manager. I have, the skill set. I have done the school. I understand what it means, and like give it a shot.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. You've shared so many valuable points. The one thing that has been, ringing in my head is, as a project manager, the success or the failure of the project relies on you. However, if you're able to work with your stakeholders and, analyze your stakeholders, and at every point in time, keep asking the right questions, you will get the results. And then also, another thing for people who are trying to step into the project management space is, put your feet forward, seek for new opportunities, volunteer, step forward, whether you're moving into a PM role or you're moving from a project manager to a program manager role, is really just about you saying, okay, I'm open to taking more projects. And when your company sees that you can handle multiple projects, then you can definitely oversee them and become a program manager. So there's a very tricky question here. Someone asked, can Agile project management methodology work in the construction industry setting?
Yes, Agile will work in. Again, let me say that my expertise is in IT, but Agile is able to work, in manufacturing as well. In fact, when you look at it, that Agile started, no, no, it didn't start from there. That's not true. But um, a lot of agile methodologies is being used in the manufacturing industry, especially in the car what's it called industry. Toyota, did a lot of work on agile. For example, there is a methodology that's called Kanban,
Yes.
which was an invention, of Toyota. Toyota started it up, so they have done it, with Toyota cars. So I believe that yes, you can use it in the manufacturing sector
Okay. And construction as well,
and
right?
construction as well. I mean, I worked with a pipeline construction company, and we
Oh,
did we did use Agile,
oh,
in developing I did the project management system for them. I mean, in
yeah,
this company, it was a new company, so they were like, they brought in project managers from bigger pipeline companies, and all these project managers came with their templates, from the different companies. So I mean, for a small organization, one had the logo from the former company, another one had the logo from another company, and everybody was reporting differently, you know.
yeah,
So it became a sore point for the senior management. They're looking at two projects, and the two projects are speaking different languages. So we needed to consolidate that. So they were working on their own, on their projects, and I still needed to work with them. So we had to, develop an agile methodology, for them.
yeah,
So which meant that they had to show face every morning, for my stand-up meetings, and that way I was transferring the knowledge to them. In most construction companies, you will find, I mean, they do some sort of agile, because every morning before they start work, they would have, a site meeting, which
yes,
in agile, we call the stand-up meeting. you know
yes,
what did I do yesterday? What am I doing today? And I need help in this area. Very
yes,
simple, straight to the point. And that, I mean, they already have that in the construction industry. So we just kind of like they fine-tuned it a little bit to say this is not the construction managers meeting any longer. It's like the typically the construction manager would come in and say, "Hey guys, this is what we need to do." Like we'll pump everybody up. So let
yeah,
us get up and go. Say no, no, no. What did you do yesterday? What's your
mm,
plan for today? So everybody started thinking about, okay, what did I do yesterday? What am I doing today? Which is basically, a portion of agile.
yeah,
What am I doing today? I would need help, in this area, in this area. So the construction manager would leave with the mind of, okay, I need to help this guy. I need to help this guy. I need to help this guy. So it's possible.
yes.
Possible to
Okay.
do.
Thank you, Dalton. Hope that answers your question. So Paul said, back to Paul who said he was scared. Paul said in his first project in Qatar that his project director made him feel inferior because he was coming from Ghana. So he was an immigrant to Ghana, living in Qatar, working on a project, and he made him feel like he wasn't qualified. And he said he also felt sad, in the office. So, and for that reason, that is why. And he says that, how do I get back on track? I really love project management consulting, but my experience with a bad boss, kind of made him feel he wasn't worth being a project manager.
Um, Paul, I'm sorry you had to go through that experience. But again, I would say that you have to dig deep. I mean, there are different kinds of people in the world. There are people that are not so helpful, but I can say that there are so many other people that are willing to help. First is I mean, having gotten to this point, get the necessary education that you need. I mean, talk to and about that. Get the necessary education that you need. Get some mentoring. Talk to people that are in the industry. Let them mentor you. Let them walk you through. You know, um, the good things that happen in the profession. There's so many good things happening in the profession, and this profession has been around for so long a period of time. Um, talk, have people mentor you. Begin to put your mind, in the frame of projects, even at home. set up projects for yourself. And what am I trying to say? Just develop something and say, I need to get this done by this time period. I need to talk to one, two, three people, those that become your stakeholder. I need to, I have this much time to get it done, and I have to get it done, with this amount of money. And you report, write a report for yourself. And you can do a daily report, you can do a weekly report to just measure your progress, and begin to build that confidence. If you belong to any group, say for example in the church, I would say that the church, the mosque, wherever you worship, that they have things that they need to do. Volunteer, make yourself available and say, I can help, with this. It's going to be not non-judgmental too, that they're not paying you. So if they're
Yeah.
not paying you, they can't kill you, just like tell whoever is the leader of the group that I can help, develop this, I can help with this,
Yeah.
do it in an area where, one, it's not going to be it's not for money, it's not going to be nobody's going to judge you or kill you for that. And use that to build your confidence, you know build your confidence back. Talk to people, get the education, and I think you can fly as far as you want.
All right, Paul. I hope you are able to catch that, and I hope you take that feedback back as well, and make use of it. Something very key there is volunteering. I tell a lot of people to try to get volunteering roles. You want to get into a PM or a BU, volunteer somewhere, do it for free, and hone your skills, and that also would count as experience for you, in your role.
So,
So
sorry, let me just quickly add to that, that
yeah.
times when you volunteer, that you will be shocked that there are expert BAs there, senior BAs there, senior PMs there, that you can like understudy, that you can work with and use them as your mentors, like study them, work with them, and they will help you.
Exactly.
So,
Always thinking
sorry,
ahead.
which is like, as you give back, you're receiving in return. So you're giving, and you're receiving, at the same time. Sorry,
Exactly.
over to you.
Exactly. That is so, so true. Okay. So he says, noted. Thank you, sir. Paul says, thank you so much for your advice.
You're
Um,
welcome.
so in your, over 20 years of, being in IT and consulting and project management and program management and business analysis, what are the lessons you've learned so far, in your experience, that you would like to share with, this up and coming and young people like us that are trying to, to get there, to be there? What would be your advice for a lot of us listening to you?
Um, I mean, so many things. One is, I'll say, don't promise much more than you can deliver. Um, on the promise and over deliver. That way you build reputation. You build reputation for yourself. Um, and at the same time, I'll say, trust yourself, trust your guts. You know. Be willing to make mistakes, and learn from your mistakes. Don't like, this is how the book says it, that I have to do it exactly by the books. I mean, you do this when no life is involved. It's not going to take somebody's life. It's not going to crash the company. So I just needed to quickly, put that in. So I'm saying, be willing to make, mistakes that you can recover from. Don't make a mistake that's going to take somebody's life, please. Make your mistakes, learn from your mistakes, and continue to push forward. Don't get stuck. You will meet different kinds of people, along your journey. You will meet good people, you will meet bad people. Do not allow people to draw you down. Be able to focus on what you want to achieve, that this is my future. Like I said about myself, I stumbled into it. It wasn't like a deliberate decision by me. I was it wasn't totally my decision, but at the same time, I have come to love it. I mean, like, um, I don't know what else I can do.
Yeah,
So I've come to love and appreciate it. So you have to be passionate about it. You have to
exactly.
carry the passion, through. Um, when you are in your low moments. So there's going to be low moments. There's going to be project failures. There's going to be challenges along the line, but you just have to keep encouraging yourself. I mean, for the Christians here, there's the man that the Holy Book says that he encouraged himself. He had to dig deep. You have to dig deep, and come back. You have to show yourself as being competent. Yeah, and as you grow in your career, be willing to delegate. Delegation means that you're freeing yourself, for some more bigger roles. I have an experience, with that. When I was still starting in my career, I was reporting to somebody, who was always like, he wasn't showing me everything. So I had to call him one night. I mean, we traveled outside our base, so in the night after we had dinner and what have you, I say, if you don't show me, say, guess what? You will remain at this level, and then I will become a manager, because managers will do, the thinking, and then technical people will be doing technical work. So, but if you teach me, you can become manager. I become expert in this, and then I can grow. You know. So I mean, that was really heavy. And he started opening up and started showing me, stuff. Not everybody's bold that way, but I mean, I'm saying that do not allow somebody to block you. You can always find your way around people. You know, again, education is important. Your competence, you have to build your competence as a project manager. You have to be composed. I mean, again, because your things are not going your way, because um, your sponsor has just washed you down, does not necessarily mean that you have to transfer that aggression to everybody. If it means you having to walk away, go outside the office, if you have to cry, go into the bathroom, cry very well, wash your face, clean your face, and march out as if nothing happened. So you
Yeah.
have to be able to absorb, all these things. Be willing, to work with people, be a
Mm,
team player, be a team builder, learn from people, and be able to be willing to share your own experience as well. This is what I learned. There's no need covering up and say, oh, I know this much, so I'm the star of the team. You don't need it. Spread the knowledge, and gain knowledge from other people. And finally, I would say, be a problem solver, be proactive. Uh, look at look at anything that comes your way. Look at it as this is an opportunity to become better. Don't run away from problems. Be willing to solve
exactly.
problems, and that's what will give you the edge.
Wow, wow. So many useful tips that I know I'm going to go back to watch the recording of this, the replay. And if you came in late and you didn't catch us from the beginning of the hour, please go back and watch the replay. It's so key what you said, is so key. On the promise, over deliver, believe in yourself. It starts with believing in yourself. With a lot of people that I work with that are trying to, move into business analysis, project management, agile, whatever, it starts with you believing in yourself. Can I really do this? Can I walk into an organization, no matter the industry, and they have a business need, and I say, okay, I can help you. It's about knowing that you can do it, and the realization that a business need, is a problem or an opportunity. So never run away from those problems, because there's an opportunity somewhere, right? And with every career path, as you're growing, there will be lessons you learn. Like you said, there are times you feel like you didn't give it your best, or you feel like, maybe like you said, your sponsor spoke to you in a way that makes you feel bad, and you cry, and then you wash your face, like you said, and you get back on it, because nothing is stopping you from making it in this path. So there's a question I want to ask. So a lot of people listening would have said, oh, well, Mr. Kayode, he's been in computer science, he's been a programmer, he's done, his hands have been dirty before he moved into management, right? So I want to move into project management or BA, and I didn't study computer science. I haven't written a line of code in my life. I don't know what that black screen looks like. How can I step into this field? How can I still get into tech? And I love tech. I want to be in tech. Tech is the in thing, but I've never written a line of code before. Can I do this? I'm second guessing myself.
I I dare say, with all sense of responsibility, that you can absolutely, absolutely do it. In the field of computer science, there are different roles. There's the role of the developer. You're not looking to becoming a developer. You want to be a BA. So the developer writes the problem, writes the code. You help the developer understand what the problem is. So you're the one liaising, with human beings. You're talking to people to understand what is the problem here. You don't have to pull the problem, from thin air. You're talking to people and asking them, what is the problem? How do you see us solving this problem? So you're looking and say, this is the current issue that they have, and based on the analysis. So everything in business analysis is English language. You don't have to learn any computer language. You don't have to learn any computer program. It is good if you understand how the program works. And it's simply, computer works to help solve problems. So you don't have to understand how the back end or the code is written. I'm saying, just looking at, say, okay, this is like, I enter, and I save. When I save, the program will run it and it will spit out this result. So that's what you want to understand. That's what I'm saying, that you want to understand, in a program. You don't need to understand how it adds, how the program will add 1 + 1 and then multiply it by 1,000. No, don't bother yourself with that. You don't need it. And I mean, if I would say that I have seen somebody that studied business admin, he's really good, in SAP. He understands SAP business module so well. Miss Eno here is another person. I'm not sure she studied computer science, and
No.
she's doing, exactly. So there are people that's done it before, and I say, I always like to put it this way, that if somebody has done it before and the person is not carrying two heads, I mean, I'm looking at Eno, she doesn't have two heads, so I don't see if she can do it, why somebody else can't do it.
Yeah.
Yes, it might take you a little bit, it might take you, some time to get there, but I say, believe in yourself, believe that you can do it, understand what you need to do, become a master in that your area. Don't go into development if you don't have a flair for writing codes. Let me say that I have seen accountants that write codes. They even write codes better than people that study computer science. So if you don't have a flair for writing computer codes, you don't need to go there. Just stay on your lane. Understand how to talk to people, pull out the requirements. What do you need to get done? Pull it out from them. Go back, do your analysis, which is in English language. Do your analysis based on all these requirements, this and this and this. Put it before them and say, this is a proposed future state that I see. They will tell you, no, this one will not work. This one, we tried it before, this one will not work. And you will use their brain, in conjunction with your subject matter experts.
Yeah.
You would use them to come up with a solution. And then if it is a computer required solution that is needed, you pass it on, to what is called the architect. The architect will map it out in a way that the developer would understand. So there are different kinds of people involved in the food chain. So your lane is business analysis or project manager. Stay in that lane and be a
Mhm.
master of business analysis, be a master of project management, and you will do well.
Yes. I feel like jumping on my seat because you're just nailing everything on the head and everything I've been telling everybody that comes in contact with me. Because there's always that fear of, oh, I don't know how to write code. I have to be technical. No, you do not have to be. Be the master in your lane. Be the master in your lane, people. Be the BA, be the PM, and focus on what you do. Thank you so much, EK, IO, AGK. Thank you so much. I'm seeing your comments. Happy that this is helpful for you. Now, something I want to share is that one, you're someone who's been a continuous learner. You've been in this game for a long time, but however, you continuously improve yourself. With certifications, you have 2 master's degree. You love learning. And I tell people that, one of the pillars of success, regardless, well, I tell people in my business analysis coaching course, but I tell people I come across with that. You need to be a constant learner. You need to keep learning and improving yourself. If not, you become a dinosaur,
That's
right?
right.
So you need to keep learning and improving yourself. So how have you stayed committed to continuously learning and improving yourself, even with all the experience and knowledge you have? You're continuously doing something. You're sometimes I find your profile intimidating, but how are you able to continue with that while still managing all these projects that you do?
Um, I mean, again, I would say God. You know, and I mean, I don't know the kind of audience that you have, but I mean that's really really true for me. That I mean, if you in my background, I would say that I'm not deserving of anything and everything that God has done for me. So I mean, so that's my number one pillar. Um, uh, Based on that, like if I have God, like I think that I have everything. So if I have everything, what is it that can help me, to get everything? It's knowledge,
Yeah,
and how do I get this knowledge? It is knowledge that some other people have. Some other people have put in books. Some other people have gone through. So why won't I learn from them? That why do I have to reinvent the wheel? If why do I have to keep knocking my head? Somebody has thought of a solution, has put it in a book, and say this is a better way than what you're doing. So I say to myself, if there's a better way that's been developed, why do I have to keep doing it the way I learned it in 1992, for example? The things of 1992, many of those things are no longer valid. In 1992, there was no Facebook. In 1992, there was no LinkedIn. So the world has changed. And just like you said, if I don't want to remain, or stuck in my 1992 level of education, I just have to keep, learning and, seeking knowledge. So knowledge is always improving. There's more knowledge today. For example, the amount of information that is on at the risk of advertising for Google and YouTube, that just Google almost anything. There's always something. There's always something. Many of them may not probably be true, but if you're able to sift through, I'm saying that there's even so much free knowledge out there. If you like, if you go on YouTube, so many training sessions on project management, on business analysis, that you can start with, at least to kind of like usher you into the field, and
yeah,
then begin to now talk to to experts that can coach you and mentor you properly,
yeah,
and help you, refine. But I'm saying that the knowledge is just so much. Instead of spending time on on WhatsApp, spending time watching all the
next,
movies,
yeah.
like you can spend your time doing something productive. So that's what I find.
Yes, so true. When people meet me and say, "Oh, I want to start this, I want to transition, I want to start into this career," I say, "Well, there's free knowledge. There's Google, there's YouTube, right?
Yeah.
There's LinkedIn Learning,
Yeah.
there's Linda. All these free resources. A lot of people have come online to share, give free tips, free strategies, free knowledge that you can actually start learning, start somewhere. That shows the enthusiasm that you have. When I was trying to transition, from, because I studied accounting, and I got all my knowledge from, from Google, from YouTube, from blogs, all that learning. Because of course, moving into business analysis and, meeting, coming in contact with all this concepts of use cases and user stories, like what's all these things? I'm used to just, debit and credit, right? So with watching YouTube videos, learning from people, reading blogs, it expanded my knowledge. And then of course, when I started doing all these things at work, I'm like, oh, so it's so easy that I thought it was rocket science, right? So, start with the knowledge you have around you, but continuously improve yourself. Continuously improve yourself. I love that. So something I want to share is, a lot of people do not know, is that he's also the pastor of a church here in Calgary. So he's the pastor of the church at Trem Calgary here in, here in Canada, in Alberta. So Trem is the Redeemed Evangelical Mission, with the headquarters in Nigeria, in Bagada, Nigeria. So he's also my pastor. So when you have someone like this, also leading and praying for you, you know that you can achieve it, you can do it, right? He's been very supportive in my journey here in Canada. So how are you able to cope with this? You work, you work, you're a father, you're a husband, and you lead, in the church as well. So, you lead the projects in the church, you lead the church as a whole. How are you able to, combine all this time? And, you're a man of faith, you believe in God. I'm also a woman of faith. I believe in God. Everything I have is through God and my Lord and my Father, Jesus Christ. How are you able to, combine all this? I'm saying this because I know someone who's watching, and he's also a pastor of a church, a redeemed church somewhere here in Calgary, and he's kind of, finding, he's not in Calgary, he's in another province, but how he's kind of finding it, tasking to combine pastoring his church, and working. He works for the government as well, and he's trying to transition into BA. It's a lot for him. How are you able to combine? Because you're not being paid for that. It's service. You're giving back to God. So it's service back to God, and it's still some of volunteering. How are you able to combine all this together? I know you're going to say God. Yes, God, God's helping you. But how are you able to do this?
Okay. Thank you for answering for me. You know, that truly, it is God. Yeah, that's. I mean, you can't take that away. And yes, and for the people that say yes, I know God, but I still am struggling. Um, I look at this COVID, season, and I kind of like say to myself that there's so much time that we waste running around all over the place, and one small virus, kept everybody at home. And I mean, for me, it was a resetting of priorities
Yeah,
again. To say that what is important to you, if this is important to you, so first is, yes, you have God, that's your number one. um I mean, I'm not saying, and I would never recommend that you reduce your time with God. Rather, I would say increase your time with God. The time that you use in studying your Bible, that you spend, praying, that you spend helping in the church, increase that. But as you increase that, what other things do you spend, your time on? It's like somebody that is in debt. you know I just want to use this analogy. Somebody is in debt and is saying, I want to be able to save. If you want to be able to save, I guess you would have to list everything, that you spend money on.
yeah,
Where does your money go? you know so where does your time go? What do you spend your time doing? you know um, this is not medically recommended. If it means reducing your sleep, that I mean, I say it's only for a period of time. So if you have set a goal of within the next 6 months, within the next 1 year, I want to be a certified business analyst. Is it possible? Very, very possible. you
yeah,
know so if you sleep 8 hours, take 2 hours out of your sleep, and put it into studying business analysis. If you spend time, relaxing and watching TV for the next 6 months, don't relax. You will not die by the grace of God. you know Spend the time to get yourself in the groove. That once you have the knowledge, once you have the certification, you can relax a little bit. I said a little bit because there's still more learning for you to do.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I mean, the initial one gets you in the door. Like, you can now beat your chest and say, by the grace of God, I have become a business analyst. I have become a project manager. Whatever
Yeah.
it is that you want to do, it's only a very short period of time in your life. um, so get that. So I guess what I'm just trying to emphasize here is reset your priorities. Look at where you have deficits, where you don't need to spend time. We spend time on phones calling people. We spend time, you
Mhm.
know, um, going through people's photographs on Facebook. I mean, these are things that I'm saying that I do too. So I'm not just spend time on WhatsApp, spend time, so take 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Before you know it, you have like a block of 1 hour that you can, just spend. A- if you spend 1 hour a day on your business analysis studies, in 6 months, you will know so much. In 1 year, you will, be confident to call yourself a business analyst. So it's just using your time wisely. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, time management is so key. I tell a lot of people, if you're not using your calendar, block out time to study. I tell people, when I was trying to get this done, when I was trying to, get my certification and make that transition, I was working full time. When people tell me I'm working, I work full time too, but my boss knew this is what I wanted to do. So have that conversation with your boss wherever you're working. Hey, Mr. Manager, I'm trying to get my PMP. I'm trying to get my CBAB certification. Therefore, I will leave at the dot of 6 and I'm heading to study. So I was going to the library after work every day. And also my weekends, Saturdays and Sundays were dedicated to studying. Everyone around me knew I had a goal to accomplish. I set a timeline for myself. So set a timeline, 3 months, I want to get my certification. I want to get this done. And every day, I call this your daily winning activities. Every day, you should study every day. You should have blocked out time after work. You rest, you relax. The time you would use to watch a movie on Netflix or absorb all the things that the news channels are telling us about, millions of people dying and making you feel depressed and having panic attacks. How about you spend that time absorbing knowledge? Keep absorbing knowledge. We're like sponges. The more we absorb, the more robust we become in our knowledge. So we're going to take the last question someone asked.
Sorry, let me just say, I'm sorry, before we take that,
Yeah.
like, my first MBA, when
Yes.
I did it in Nigeria, and then, when I went to my boss, because it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday school, for the MBA classes. So which meant, like, I needed to close early on Fridays so that I can beat traffic to get to school early enough. And I went, to the chief executive, my boss then, to say that Fridays I only will be working half days, and what have you. And he said to me, this one that you're taking, from the office time. And this is it. I mean, I work late. I don't even, I typically would leave the office like 7, 6:37. I mean, I get to work a little bit late. I get to work like 8:30. And then I'm there till like 7:30, 6:30. Like, I work more than the normal hours. So I thought I had, some, what you call that. Anyways, I went, to say that I want to take Friday's half day. And he said to me, okay, I mean, the MBA was for 2 years. Then it was an executive MBA. It says, okay, so for the next 2 years, there's not going to be promotion, there's not going to be salary increment,
Wow.
and what have you. I mean, I was still, like a young person, out of school, just ambitious that I wanted to get it done. So I said, okay, I will take the no salary increment, no promotion for 2 years. um Somebody else will probably say, oh, I need the money.
Yeah.
But I tell you that after I finished the MBA, I started using the MBA knowledge, to help the company. I got double promotion. I
Wow.
went ahead of people that we were on the same level,
Wow.
you know
Wow.
when the MBA knowledge started to work for the organization. So I'm saying that it would eventually pay off.
Yes.
It will pay off.
Yes.
You will get the payback in whatever investment you put into it, in your time, in your money. You will get the payback.
Yes,
See that?
exactly, exactly. The ROI, the return on investment, you will always get it back no matter what you do, regards to personal development, as long as you're putting into yourself. TV and movies and series and all that are not benefiting you in any way. But the knowledge you gain from an MBA, from a new certification, trust me, the return is way more than you can imagine. Imagine spending $500 on a certification today and being able to increase your salary by $30,000 to $40,000. It is possible. I've seen this happen. Imagine spending $20,000 on an MBA and getting a role of $150,000. It is possible. The return on investment. Ask yourself, if I spend 10 hours a week studying and I invest $500 in getting this certification, what's going to be the return on my investment? And you fight for it. Like someone said, you fight for what you keep. When you fight for something, you will get it. Fight for it. Make
Yeah.
sure that everything you're doing. For me, I never do anything without. I'm very analytical, and when it comes to finances, I'm always like, if I invest, X amount of money into becoming certified as a BA or certified as a Scrum Master or a PM, how much do they make? Okay, this is how much they make. Okay, meaning that if I earn $40,000 now, I can double my salary and earn 80,000. You mean if I give myself 3 months to study and to invest in this certification, I can double my salary? The return on investments is so high. And I thought for everything that I have and I am today was me just deciding, even at the level that I was, saying, I'm going ahead to become a certified business analyst, and everything that I have and I have achieved is with that decision. I'm going to invest in myself, and I believe that the return on investment would be, this for me, and that's how it's become. So thank you so much for that MBA story. So for people who are feeling, oh, I don't have the time, I can't do it. Think about what you stand to gain, even not in your current company, but maybe another company, a new
Oh yeah.
job,
Yes.
a new job. There's
Absolutely.
always that ROI. There's always that ROI. So the last question we're going to take is someone who said, what's your advice for companies who are asking for domain experience? For example, they're asking if you've worked in banking or insurance and you've never been in that domain. This question is really, how do I sell myself? Say they're asking for that domain experience. And for someone like you who has worked across over 10 domains, how can I sell myself saying I haven't worked in oil and gas, I haven't worked in manufacturing. However, Mr. Hiring Manager, I can do this.
I mean, I would say there are two levels here. First level is for your resume to do the job for you,
Mm,
for your resume to pass through that initial gate. So which means that you have to be able to relate, the experiences that you had with what they're asking for.
exactly.
That again, being able to like I mean, I can't think of, but whatever they're asking for, that you're able to say that, yes, I understand what you're saying, and this is what I did. You
Yeah.
know, Oftentimes these days, it is computers that will pick out, resumes based on keywords. So you have to make sure that you have those keywords that they're asking for in your resume without lying. If you don't have the experience, please do not lie. It's a different thing to say that I aspire, to be able to do this. I'm working on
Mhm.
developing these skills.
Yeah.
That's you can say that, but to claim that you have an experience where you don't, please don't do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
It probably doesn't. It doesn't belong to you. One, two, that there are organizations, that are able to, like open the veil and see, beyond that curtain and kind of like look behind and say, yes, this is relevant for us. The first thing is that you're able to relate your whatever experience you have with what they're asking for. Yes, some industries typically, they're very, hard and fast about um, you must have worked in the industry.
Yeah.
That's in that case. I really don't know. Um, I don't know if but what I probably then would do is if it is an industry that you really, 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 really would like to work in, that you can, instead of going for the big names, go for the smaller names.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so uh, I don't want to advertise any company, but I mean,
Yeah.
in every industry, there are always the big players,
Mm-hmm.
and they're always, like the ones that are coming up. I
Yeah.
mean, in oil and gas, in construction, in banking, and what have you. So in banking, for example, they're like the national banks that everybody, the national brands, and they're the community banks,
Yes. Credit
the
union.
credit union,
It is.
microfinance bank, as they call them in Nigeria.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can say head of operations, microfinance bank. I mean that is head of operations, credit union. So you have the banking, what's it called? So you don't stick to the big names, that you have to work with the very big names first. That gives you entry into that industry, one. And the second level is at the level of interview, that if you are able to scale the first level, I think at the second level, what they really want to see is, are you able to add value here? Would
Yeah.
you understand when people are, like using the terminologies that is specific to this industry? Would you understand it? Would you be able to, like catch on very quickly, or are they going to spend time teaching you the basics of
Mm.
the industry? But once you can show that you have studied, you understand, the language that they speak. So it's, again, it goes back to your ability to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
And as a business analyst, as a project manager, that is a key skill that you require, your
Yeah.
ability to be able to communicate, what the issues are, so you have a clear understanding of their terminologies, and you can distill it, and you can speak. They will look at you and say, yes, he's not this person has not worked in this industry before, but
Yeah.
guess what, there's no terminology that we throw around that he's looking lost.
Yeah.
This person is able to respond, and respond properly. So people just want to hear, something that they are used to, something
Yeah.
that they are sure you're not going to be lost when
Yeah.
you're in a meeting. If you can speak the language, um, it will take the grace of God for them not to give you the job.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Communicate your value.
Yeah,
When people ask this kind of questions, I tell them, first of all, make sure you have those transferable skills on your resume, even if
right.
you've not worked in that industry. I've worked with someone who she worked in the bank in Nigeria. She worked in GTB exactly, and then she moved here and she moved into aviation. And people are like, how is that possible? And she herself, when we first spoke, she was scared about, how am I going to speak to this? Like, this is aviation. I'm like, well, how do aviation companies make money? Well, flights, right? Right. So they make money through flights. So do your research, find out what projects they have on right now, ongoing, go to their website, read their blogs, go to their YouTube channels, see what's happening in that organization right now, right? What are the things they're trying to do? Aviation companies are always bringing up new things. Maybe they're releasing new planes, or they're opening up new destinations, or they're trying to make, the ticketing experience a lot more better. Read through that and then look at what you've done in your previous organization and see how you can communicate that value. And believe you me, she got the job at the first interview because she was able to translate her experience in banking, saying, I worked in this bank in Nigeria. These are the things that we've done, using technology and innovation. And I know that, your company right now is trying to achieve XYZ. You're starting to speak their language, talking about the projects that are ongoing, or even past projects, and you're already speaking in the lingo. They already see you as someone who can come in and blend immediately. So I don't think domain would ever be a challenge. Domain is never a challenge for me. If you ask me when you're trying to make that move, whether BA or PM, is less about the domain then, but more about the value you can offer. So, do your research about that industry. There's terms and there's terminologies that are being used. There's lingo that's being used. When you're speaking like them, they already see you as a part of them. Trust me, that's a great tip.
That's right.
For you at your interview. So someone is saying, should I go to do a master's in project management or just get a certification? I have experience. Should I go and do a master's? It's maybe a 2-year master's in project management than going to just do, within 6 months, do a course, get certified as a project manager than going to do a 2-year master's in project management.
Get certified.
Exactly.
Certified immediately.
Exactly. Focus on your certifications. Be a PM, get the certifications, than going to school to spend 2 years. Because trust me, you're still going to go through the whole PM book. The whole project management book of knowledge will be broken down into modules for you. The same thing with the business analysis. And I say this because I teach in university and I teach business analysis courses, and you have to follow the same methodology. So for a master's in project management, you're going through the whole project management methodology according to the PM book. The same thing with the business analysis course. You would look at business analysis from the business analysis book of knowledge, the BA book as well, the book of knowledge. So why don't you just, take the course and go for the certification than spending 2 years trying to achieve something you can do in 6 months? So on that note,
let me just clarify a little bit more. To say that it depends on what you want to achieve. If you want to get a job, as a project manager, or a project management expert, you want to get a job, certification is more valued, is more, if you kind of like pull up multiple adverts, for project manager jobs, you would see them asking, for your PMP certification, rather than having masters in project management. However, if you want to become a project management knowledge expert, that you want to become a lecturer, you want to begin to transfer knowledge to other people, yes, I would say maybe that's the way to go. Do the masters, and if there's a PhD available, get it done. But if it is for work, do the certification. Same for business analysis. If it is for work.
Lillian, there you've heard it. If it's for work, get certification. And if you want to teach, you're looking to get into education and become a lecturer or an instructor, then you can go ahead to get a master's degree. So on that note, we'll call it a wrap. A lot of thanks to you, for this session. A lot of people have lots of thanks. I will just, throw that here. Ike says lovely and insightful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ike.
Ayo says a good one there, on the promise and over deliver. AGK says really insightful conversation. Ayo says this is excellent.
That's good.
Ike says this is very nice. And Ike also shares, that wonderful Pastor K, great to hear more, share your insights about, and even as a minister, really inspiring. God continuously bless your ministry.
Amen. And you too.
As well.
Yeah.
Abel says great insights. Alfred says, thank you. Yemi says, thank you. Paul says, Prince 2 or PMP. We talked about that earlier. It depends on where you are. Prince 2 in the UK, PMP in North America and Africa is what we find. And Alfred says, fantastic session. Thank you so much. So on that note, we say thank you so much for giving us your time, even way more than we planned. We really, really appreciate you sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. We thank you so much, and we hope that God continues to bless you in every area in your career, in your ministry as well. On that note, we say goodbye. Have a wonderful day. For Canadians, have a wonderful Canada Day celebration. Stay safe. Remember, there's still COVID-19. Stay safe and practice social distancing. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for calling in. Thank you enough for the opportunity. The Lord bless you and take you to higher grounds. Thank you so
Amen.
much. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.